Milestone with a special landing at the Kennedy Space Center over the weekend. An unmanned space plane operated by the Air Force safely landed yesterday. The mini shuttle returning from orbit after nearly 2 years of conducting test missions in space.
Shocking images of America's ultra-hidden X-37 space plane have just been leaked online, even though it's one of only 2 ever made and is supposed to be invisible to everyone.
It is quite thrilling to be able to see that vehicle at the very end. When you finally pick it up, it's dropping like a rock, comes down very quickly and does the final flare just before touching down, traveling in excess of 200 miles an hour.
Meanwhile, a video embarrassed Russia's well-known S-300 missile system by showing it failed to launch despite its global trust. Both reports reveal deep cracks in what should be indestructible military security. How could such closely guarded hidden spill out into the open? Join us as we expose the boundaries of the mightiest defense of the Army. Questions of the X-37 spaceplane. The X-37 spaceplane is a modern aircraft representing many of the U.S. military's experiments in recent years. This spacecraft, designed for long-term missions, is remotely operated and was intended to remain out of the public eye. Yet, after a 2-year orbital mission, it returned to Earth, landing at the Kennedy Space Center in Florida. Strikingly, images of this highly classified plane have appeared online, showing off its structure and technology. It is believed that only 2 of these planes exist, which raises questions about how such a sophisticated military asset could have been photographed and shared publicly. The unknown role of these aircraft is not unique in the realm of military technology, as seen with Russia's S-300 missile system. This missile system, which has been sold to many countries because of its reported reliability, was first introduced in the late 1970s. However, its reliability was called into question in 2015 when a video captured one of its missiles failing during launch, an event that was never meant to be public. This failure is a stark reminder that even well-regarded technologies can experience failures. The video not only questioned the S-300 reliability, but also highlighted that even the most trusted systems have weaknesses. This incident provides a critical look at the challenges and limitations of advanced military technology. It shows that no system is perfect, and even the best ones can have problems. Initially filled with promise, the S-33 missile from Russia quickly turned into a textbook example of a failed project. Each attempt to launch it was fraught with difficulties as it struggled to rise. Its inability to perform as expected was a stark reminder that not every ambitious project meets its goals. Finally, when the missile did manage to lift off, it was short-lived. It soon crashed back to Earth, breaking apart and scattering debris. The person filming the event had to quickly adjust the camera to protect themselves and only resumed recording once it was safe. Upon returning, the camera captured a dense cloud of smoke left by the crash, a grim scene that makes it understandable why someone would prefer to keep this footage hidden. On a related note, the U.S. Navy, which is usually open about what it does, has certain photographs it doesn't share with the public. Back in the 1970s, a time when sharing photos was common practice, the Navy chose to withhold some images from being published. This selective information sharing suggests a strategic choice to keep some things out of the public eye. It prompts one to think about the reasons behind such decisions. What could these photos contain that might lead to such discretion? The practice shows a careful management of information, indicating a preference to control what is made public and what remains unseen. This guarded approach to information might be intended to protect certain interests or prevent potential issues that could arise from broader disclosure. A photograph was taken aboard a USS submarine during a time of heightened tension, when conflict with Russia seemed a real possibility. Though the conflict never erupted, the photo captured something extraordinary. It depicted an unidentifiable object floating above the sea, which notably changed shape before submerging and vanishing from sight. Due to its unusual characteristics, this photo was concealed from the public and locked away for nearly 30 years. The eventual leak of the photograph ignited widespread debate and speculation. Some individuals were quick to label the object as a UFO, captivated by its ability to morph and its sudden disappearance into the ocean. Others suggested a more grounded explanation, proposing that it might be an undisclosed military experiment, perhaps a new type of aircraft or underwater drone that had not been previously revealed. Some photos are meant to be kept away from the public eye, often marked with warnings such as official photograph, not to be released, or unauthorized disclosure subject to security certificate SNN 674, criminal sanction number 17. These labels indicate that the images are confidential and not intended for general viewing. Yet, in 2019, a photo that was supposed to be concealed leaked into the public sphere. Interestingly, the incident depicted in the photograph was not hidden from the public initially. It was the catastrophic failure of an Iranian missile test. The missile test did not just fail, it ended in a massive explosion that completely destroyed the test site. The explosion was enormous, with flames devouring the facility and debris scattered all around, resembling a scene from an action movie. The severity of the explosion was such that it left nothing of the test facility. This photo, meant to be secret, provided a vivid visual confirmation of the scale of the disaster. The fact that this photo leaked despite strict controls reflects the difficulty in completely controlling information. It highlights a significant incident, showing the physical extent of the explosion and the destruction it caused. The image became a topic of keen interest, especially considering the strained relations between the Iranian government and many other countries. As one leak's fallout continues, a new revelation about state surveillance surfaces, raising fresh concerns. The unexpected consequences of high-tech surveillance. The unexpected release of such a tightly guarded image raises several questions. It prompts us to think about what other significant information might be withheld and the implications of such controlled information coming to light unexpectedly. It also points to the possible vulnerabilities in the systems that protect such sensitive information. At that time, very few people felt sorry for Iran. Instead, the internet was filled with people making fun of the situation, including the then President of the US, Donald Trump. Things took a dramatic turn when Trump, known for his love of the spotlight, posted satellite images on his Twitter account to mock the situation. These images were incredibly detailed, showcasing their high quality, which initially seemed like Trump had gained an upper hand over Iran. However, this initial triumph quickly soured as U.S. military leaders began to criticize the move. They were concerned because the precision and clarity of the images could potentially expose important details about the satellite. According to these military experts, the level of detail was enough for adversaries to figure out which satellite was used and even how it could be targeted and destroyed. This criticism was soon validated when an astronomer claimed that he could identify the satellite used just from the images shared by Trump. This was more than just a minor error. It represented a significant lapse in judgment regarding the handling of sensitive information. What was intended as a strong display by Trump quickly turned into a glaring example of mishandling national security information. The incident led to widespread discussions about the dangers of sharing such sensitive details on public platforms like Twitter, questioning the prudence of such actions by a sitting president. The consequences of this blunder were far-reaching. The discussion wasn't just about the potential dangers to the satellite anymore, but also about the broader implications of careless information sharing. It became a lesson on the importance of safeguarding national security details and the responsibilities that come with leadership. The incident highlighted the need for more stringent controls over what is shared by government officials on social media, prompting calls for better training and policies to prevent similar incidents in the future. An analyst observed that a powerful satellite named USA 224 was used in an operation. This satellite stands out because it features a large 2.5-meter optical mirror. Normally, it orbits the Earth at a height of around 200 miles. Its special capability allows it to zoom in and clearly see objects that are smaller than 10 centimeters. This level of detail is significantly better than what commercial companies are allowed to provide. They can usually only show objects no smaller than 25 centimeters. Therefore, the abilities of USA 224 place it at the forefront of surveillance technology, distinguishing it as one of the most advanced systems available. An attempt to process an image to meet normal standards, the military found their work inadvertently undone by Donald Trump, effectively nullifying their efforts. At the same time, an unknown aspect of North Korea, a country that often remains out of the global view, was revealed to the world. This incident added another complex layer to the global political landscape, demonstrating how advanced technology and politics are deeply interlinked. The use of such high-level technology has far-reaching consequences, influencing political dynamics in ways that can be hard to predict. These events show how the power of surveillance technology is intertwined with political actions, where every technological advance can shift the balance of power and bring unforeseen challenges. The information that has come to light about North Korean prison camps was never meant to be public. These photos, released by a former guard, have made it impossible to deny the harsh conditions inside these camps, often referred to as gulags. Previously, many people found it hard to believe these places existed, especially since North Korea's leader, Kim Jong-un, has consistently denied their existence. But the leaked photos not only prove they are real, they also show us the terrible conditions within. These photos depict a chilling scene: electric fences, overcrowded buildings, high walls, and tall watchtowers, reportedly designed under the orders of Kim Jong-un. The source of these images claims these camps are places of death, where countless people have suffered and died under brutal torture. One documented form of torture is pigeon torture, where victims are tied up in a way that prevents them from sitting or standing comfortably for days, often resulting in permanent damage to their bodies. Comparing these North Korean prison camps to Nazi concentration camps highlights their brutality. This comparison is not made lightly. It underscores the severity of the cruelty and inhuman conditions. These camps, hidden from the world, operate under strict secrecy, with a government that continues these cruel practices on a massive scale. By releasing these photos, the former guard has done more than just show the world these hidden atrocities. He has sparked a call for action. These images force us to face the reality of what is happening in these camps and question how such cruelty can still exist in our world today. They challenge us to consider what should be done, not just by individual countries, but by the global community, to address and stop such violations of human rights. This situation raises serious questions about international responsibility and the effectiveness of global responses to such clear abuses. As more people see these images and learn about the conditions in these camps, there is a growing urgency for international bodies and leaders to step up and take action. The world can no longer ignore what is happening. We must confront these brutal realities and work together to find ways to bring about change and hold those responsible accountable. Just as the military scandal hits home, another disturbing truth about wartime actions is unveiled: the hidden reality of Iraqi prisons. In a grim Iraqi prison, American soldiers were captured in leaked photos, mistreating prisoners in extremely cruel ways. These shocking images not only showed the dire conditions where over 50,000 women and children were packed tightly together, but also exposed a darker side of the soldiers stationed there. The photographs revealed guards forcing prisoners into painful and humiliating positions and engaging in other forms of severe mistreatment. When these photographs were released, they stopped the world in its tracks, sparking a massive outcry from countries and human rights groups worldwide. The revealed abuses were a jarring wake-up call, showing a major failure in both ethics and humanity by those supposed to enforce law and order. In response, the Pentagon announced that 35 investigations had been conducted in the prison. finding that 25 people had died due to the ruthless treatment from what were described as thoughtless soldiers. The prison was finally closed in 2014, but not before some accountability measures were taken. The implicated soldiers were subjected to widespread condemnation and legal action. Some were tried in Abu Ghraib itself, the location of their disgraceful acts, while others faced military courts or were sent back to the United States to be tried. This episode highlighted a troubling chapter in military behavior and warned about the profound shortcomings within systems designed to protect justice and human dignity. The trials and subsequent inquiries did little to repair the tarnished image of a powerful nation or to alleviate the deep resentment stemming from such blatant human rights violations. These events starkly illustrated the often harsh realities of power and governance, significantly damaging the reputation of a nation that claims moral superiority and leadership on the global stage. Pine Gap, a surveillance base operated by the U.S. government, is 11 miles southwest of Alice Springs, Australia. Its primary function is to monitor activities across Asia, playing a crucial role in the intelligence network. Despite its importance, the U.S. government's attempts to conceal Pine Gap have not succeeded. They have implemented stringent measures to prevent any photographs of the base from leaking, fearing that such images could provide foreign states with insights into their operational tactics. However, these efforts have not been foolproof. The base's proximity to a local television station and its accessibility to the public have made it difficult to maintain the desired level of secrecy. Photos of Pine Gap have appeared online, leading to questions about the effectiveness of the security measures in place. This incident exposes weaknesses in the government's strategy to protect sensitive information. The release of these photos invites scrutiny into how well the base is guarded and whether the strategies to shield it from public view are adequate. This theme of exposure is not unique to Pine Gap. A similar situation occurred in 2010 and 2011, highlighted by Rolling Stone magazine, which published photos showing U.S. soldiers with deceased individuals they had encountered in conflict zones. These images, like those of Pine Gap, sparked widespread criticism and raised questions about the conduct and control within the U.S. military. These leaks demonstrate recurring challenges in managing and securing sensitive information, suggesting a pattern of lapses that extend beyond a single incident or location. The rules were being followed, but the real shock came when it was found that many of the dead were not soldiers, but ordinary civilians. Rolling Stone magazine brought this to light by publishing about 50 of these horrifying images, causing widespread anger among the public. This prompted a series of investigations into how military personnel behaved, leading the U.S. government to not only apologize to the public, but also to assure that those involved in these distressing photos would be legally punished. Around the same time, the Israeli Defense Force started experiencing problems with its female soldiers because of some leaked photos. These photos sparked a lot of discussion about privacy, raising serious questions about the principles and internal rules of the military. The leaking of these photos highlighted the ongoing challenges and deep-rooted problems within the military, showing aspects of military life that are usually kept away from the public eye. These incidents led to a reconsideration of the portrayal and treatment of soldiers, pointing to broader issues of behavior and respect within the military ranks. This situation necessitated a rethinking of the policies that govern the behavior and handling of personnel in sensitive situations. Photos were intentionally shared by female soldiers who seemed eager to display themselves in revealing outfits. In these images, they wore scant clothing or bikinis while posing with their weapons. These photos were then uploaded to a specially created Instagram account. The military expressed disapproval of these actions and announced that it was addressing the issue, with disciplinary measures forthcoming. Meanwhile, the Israeli government has been attempting to remove these images from online spaces. Despite these efforts, some persistent female soldiers continue to post such images, prompting concerns among the authorities about the potential influence on other women who might consider doing the same. Since every Israeli woman is required to serve in the military for at least 2 years starting at age 18, the concern is significant. While some people have criticized these photos as inappropriate, others are not bothered, suggesting that these young women, mandated to serve in the military, are merely trying to find moments of enjoyment in their responsibilities. Similarly, a recent incident involving leaked photos from a Russian cadet school in Stavropol at the General Yun Cadet School has introduced a new perspective on what happens inside these military training institutions. Russia, typically viewed as a powerful nation, now faces scrutiny over these images that depict a less than disciplined aspect of its military education. These leaks challenge the typically serious image of Russian military training and spark a mix of reactions. Some view the leaks with severe disapproval, criticizing the lack of control and decorum. Others seem to accept that young people will occasionally act out, even in highly controlled environments like military schools. These incidents provoke a broader discussion about the balance between discipline and personal expression in military settings, highlighting the challenges of maintaining strict control while managing the aspirations and behaviors of young trainees. Beneath the surface of military discipline, hidden pressures and flaws come to light. Behind the lie of military precision, the photographs display a concerning truth. Very young children, just entering their teens, are being trained in military practices and how to handle weapons. These youngsters, some just older than toddlers, are seen in images proficiently using rifles. They know how to shoot and take care of them. Besides handling guns, they are taught various techniques to defend themselves, surprisingly mixed with normal school lessons like math and English. The pictures also show the daily life of these kids, who live more like soldiers than typical school students. Their sleeping arrangements resemble those of military camps, with bunk beds and a strict daily schedule that offers little time for usual playful activities. The Russian cadet school, which seems to be very popular, hosts over 600 children during the summer and more than 1,500 during the school year. This reflects a cultural approach where strict military discipline is imparted from an early age. In another context, military forces aim to maintain a spotless reputation. However, they often face embarrassing failures that they'd prefer to keep out of the public's view. These failures are usually during tests or training exercises. For instance, an incident involved 2 M1 Abrams tanks that awkwardly ran into each other during a routine training session. This event was captured in a photo that showed soldiers standing around the massive, entangled tanks, displaying expressions of confusion or dismay as they waited for help. Each tank, weighing a massive 260 tons, symbolizes strength that, in this instance, ironically highlights the occasional clumsiness of military operations. This spectacle of such large combat vehicles clumsily colliding serves as a stark reminder that even the most well-organized military units can experience moments of glaring incompetence. Tanks clashing might remind you of scenes from a movie, but they are real events that the U.S. government usually doesn't want people to know about. Officially, these incidents are described as planned military actions, but the truth on the ground is often more chaotic and less controlled than what is publicly shared. Regarding the way soldiers maintain their perfectly straight postures during ceremonies, one might think it's all due to hard training and strong commitment. However, a recent photograph from China shows a different story. This photo reveals that pins are attached to the uniforms of new recruits. These pins are not for decoration. They are there to force the recruits to stand up straight. If a recruit does not maintain the perfect posture, the pin causes pain. This strict method highlights the extreme measures taken to ensure that soldiers appear orderly, even if it means causing them discomfort. Ceremonial events are usually meant to impress viewers with their precision and grandeur. Yet, these events can also face unexpected issues. For example, during a 1970 event known as Trooping the Color, which was attended by Queen Elizabeth II, everything was supposed to be perfect. However, During the ceremony, as the queen rode past on her horse, a soldier suddenly fainted in front of everyone. This incident shows that no matter how well planned an event is, things can go wrong. Such moments remind us that behind the scenes of these grand displays, the participants are still human and can struggle under the pressures they face. These examples, from hidden methods of controlling soldiers' postures to the disruptions at state ceremonies, all point to a common theme of control and the desire to present a perfect image. However, behind this facade, there is often stress and strain. The reality that not everything is as flawless as it seems shows the gap between what is shown to the public and what actually happens. This difference highlights the pressures and contradictions that are frequently present in military and governmental activities. The photograph, it's not immediately clear why a soldier suddenly collapsed during a public event attended by the Queen. He might have been overwhelmed by the heat or suffering from an illness. Surrounded by spectators, both he and the Queen had to remain calm and composed despite the unsettling incident. The image captures this moment vividly, yet it leaves us guessing about the real reasons behind the soldier's fall. Could the discomfort of his uniform under the harsh sun or a hidden medical condition be to blame? We are left to ponder. The Crimean War stands as a brutal reminder of the realities of warfare. This period also marked a significant shift in how wars were documented, thanks to the bravery of early war photographers. These individuals ventured close to the action, risking their lives to capture the truth of what was happening. Their photographs provided a new perspective on war, one that allowed people far from the battlefield to see the horrors of war from a distance. This shift has shaped how we view military conflicts, offering a glimpse into the chaos of war while also somewhat distancing us from its brutal reality. Another photograph reveals the resourcefulness required in military life. It shows a soldier acting as a human support for a sniper, a clear demonstration of the adaptability soldiers must have. However, the image also raises questions about the appropriateness and necessity of such actions. The discomfort and uncertainty evident on the soldier's face, who serves as support, highlight the personal sacrifices soldiers make, often unseen in grander tales of military valor. The situation is markedly different when it comes to photography. The government tightly controls the release of any images, particularly those of the military. This control is part of a broader strategy to shape the perception of the country to the outside world. Pictures from North Korea are carefully selected to convey a specific image, one that often does not reflect the full reality of life there. This manipulation through imagery is a powerful reminder of how photographs can be used not just to inform or mislead, but as tools of state policy to maintain a certain narrative. With military hidden exposed, we delve into the hidden struggles of global power and control. The unseen struggles of North Korean soldiers. It was quite revealing when photos taken by a tourist of Kim Jong-un's army appeared online. These images showed unexpected and rather odd scenes. One picture captured a soldier asleep on the roadside, while another displayed women soldiers training in high heels. What was more surprising was a photograph showing 18 soldiers squeezing into a vehicle made for only 8. The equipment they used looked old and worn out, clearly indicating that North Korea is far behind other countries in terms of military technology. The tourist who shared these photos commented on the soldiers' lack of readiness for combat, suggesting that the North Korean military is not prepared for real warfare. Ironically, this could mean that North Korea might be less likely to start a conflict, simply because its army might not perform well in a real battle situation. On another note, the tank biathlon, organized annually by the Russian government, is an event that typically draws comparisons to the Olympics, but for tank crews. In this competition, countries usually use Russia's old T-72 tanks. However, in one instance, China decided to bring its own tank, which led to an embarrassing mishap. During the event, a photo captured a dramatic moment when a tire from the Chinese tank came off unexpectedly, throwing the vehicle and its crew into chaos. This was more than just a minor accident. It was a significant embarrassment, especially in a competition designed to display military strength and coordination. This malfunction not only halted the Chinese tank, but also highlighted the unpredictability in maintaining and operating such complex machinery in competitive settings. The photograph of the malfunctioning Chinese tank, meant to project power and efficiency, instead conveyed a starkly different message, leaving a lasting impression of failure and disarray. The recent Chinese Type 96B tank issue has become a major public relations problem. This tank, promoted as a new, cutting-edge model, has instead highlighted the inferior quality of Chinese military equipment. The image of this tank was supposed to be kept private, suggesting embarrassment over its poor performance. A photograph leak revealed what was meant to be kept hidden about its military operations. These pictures were taken by a bold new recruit named Max, who used his camera to capture scenes that expose the harsh realities Belarusian soldiers face. The images show soldiers undergoing intense training while also having to tolerate very poor living conditions. For example, the photographs show soldiers showering with cold water poured from buckets because they don't have access to proper bathing facilities with hot water. This highlights a significant disparity in the treatment and conditions of soldiers around the world. The situation is further complicated by leaked photos involving Syrian rebels that have caused quite a stir. These photos, which were taken last year but only recently came to light, confirm that US and British special forces were not just present, but also closely interacting with Syrian opposition fighters. This interaction went beyond mere cooperation and included friendly relations, contradicting previous denials by the British government back in 2013. This revelation raises serious questions about the true extent of Western involvement in Syrian conflicts. If there was nothing to hide, why was there a need to deny such interactions initially? The training, it turns out, wasn't limited to the official Syrian army, but also extended to other groups actively participating in the conflict. This blurs the lines of international military engagement and raises concerns about the real goals and actions of Western forces in foreign conflicts. The heart of the Cold War, when fear of nuclear annihilation loomed large, the British government quietly constructed the Burlington Bunker, also known as the Central Government War Headquarters. Situated beneath RAF Corsham in Wiltshire, England, this sprawling underground fortress covered 35 acres, buried 120 feet deep. Designed to host up to 4,000 individuals, this bunker was a fortress of paranoia, decked out with all the trappings of a long siege: hospitals, offices, living quarters, and even the second-largest phone exchange in Britain. It's a bit ironic, really. Here was a place built for the worst, equipped to sustain life for at least 3 months in total isolation, yet it also boasted a television studio for broadcasting government propaganda and a pneumatic tube system just to keep messages flowing. Over 60 miles of roads connected this subterranean city to a network of existing tunnels extending over 18 miles, ensuring that even in a post-apocalyptic world, some aspect of normalcy could be maintained. Yet despite all these elaborate preparations, the bunker became obsolete and was deemed surplus by 1991, following the collapse of the Soviet Union and the fall of the Berlin Wall. By 2004, it was declassified, turning from a top hidden government lair into a potential commercial real estate opportunity. An underground wine cellar or server farm, perhaps? Was the bunker ever truly about defense, or was it a cover for something more dangerous? Leave a comment and subscribe for more intriguing revelations and discussions.